Hey guys, Shishi here, and today I'm gonna be reviewing the epic tales of Captain Underpants, the Netflix animated show that's based on the books by Dave Pinkley Plink? Yeah, I don't know. You know, Captain Underpants, the books we read as kids. Eh, the Fliporama books, the ones where we Fliporama them so hard that we ripped the pages. Yeah, those books. Anyways, this is my first review slash whatever video, so I know there's some static, but that's just because I have a shitty mic. But I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it, so just deal with it, bitches. Just deal with it. Anyways, I wrote a little thing here, and we're gonna start with the characters. I wrote a little script, so I'm just gonna be reading it. I don't know. Blah blah blah. There's some stuff here. I haven't read any of the Captain Underpants books in a while. And like the last thing I know about Captain Underpants is that they were in the news, I believe, because there was a gay character in it or something. I don't know. That's the last thing I remember hearing about Captain Underpants. Anyways, in this series, they don't really, like, with the exception of Harold, George and Harold, Mr. Krupp and Captain Underpants and Melvin, they don't really use people from the book, or at least people that I remember from the books. Like all those side characters, I don't remember them being in a book, so I don't know if they're new or something. But the villains, they're all, I don't know any of them. Like they didn't use any of the turbo toilets or the boogerman that I remember from reading the books. So I'm a little disappointed there, but I guess DreamWorks is saving those for the movies, I guess. But all the characters were like forgettable. They don't really develop much throughout the story. And like the villains or the bad guys, whatever you want to call it, of each video, of each episode, they all share like, with the exception of like two, they all share the same gimmick that they all grow big at the end of the episode, which I found like kind of annoying. Like they all get big. Like the first one is a gym teacher and he gets a big butt. He becomes one thick boy. And okay, it's the first episode. He gets a big butt. And then a second episode, the DJ lady, she gets into a big robot. Or she becomes like a half robot, half human, and she gets big, blah blah blah. And then a third episode, again, a giant hydra with a lot of teachers and mixed into a copier or printer, whatever, and they get big. Fourth is finally someone doesn't get big, and the horror girl turns into a vampire or something, blah blah blah. And then a fifth, the French teacher turns into a giant mummy, and I thought the toilet was gonna be like one of those turbo toilets, but no, it's just a normal toilet. It's just a normal huge toilet. And then the sixth episode, the giant avocado is a monster, or the giant avocado is a giant. Once again, it's big, and big. Seventh, the clay monster or the clay kid, he turns big because of Melvin. Eighth, they fight a giant rope. Ninth episode, it's a giant sock, like a giant smelly sock. It's big, stinky. 10th, it's a giant robot, fucking giant robot. In the 11th episode, they fight another giant robot, or I guess it can be considered the building, but it's still big. It's still huge. 12th, they fight a giant fart that wasn't big in the beginning, but then it turned big. So once again, it turned big. Blah blah blah. And in the 13th episode, they fight the fart again, but this time it doesn't turn big. but he still makes people big by making smaller people or smaller farts and then going to them and bloating them up. But then the other characters didn't really stick out. Like those were the villains and they're forgettable. Uh like most of the time they just show up for one episode and then they're done. They get beat by Captain Underpants and the help from other people. And then they just seem to forget that they were ever a bad guy or something weird happened to them and they just move on. But then there's George and Harold. They're okay. They're like basically the same person, just they change in different physical appearance. But they're just pranksters, little kids, high schoolers that don't follow the rules, break the rules, constantly get into trouble. And then there's Mr. Crop slash Captain Underpants. When he's Mr. Crop, he's mean, he hates fun, kids, everything, especially George and Harold. And his only goal seems to be that to get them expelled, I think, when they reach 500 visits. And then when he's Captain Underpants, he's really, really, really stupid, like stupid dumb, like really dumb. He's a grown ass adult and he's dumb as fuck. But oh well. But then Mr. Krupp does change a little bit at the end. There's minor spoilers, like at the end when the George and her reach their 500 visits to the principal office, and then he changes his mind about expelling them because George and Harold bring him back the rule book, and then he realizes that they're actually good kids. But that doesn't happen to like the last episode. Anyways, another character is Melvin Sneedly. He's a little bitch. He's a little white kid that's smart. He invents different crap, and most of the time it's either Melvin's fault that the villains happen, or it's Melvin's fault that George and her managed to win against the villain. It's always one or the other. And then the other supporting characters, they're like really bad. Like this girl that has big hair. She's the main villain. She's the villain of the fourth episode, and like she may not get big, but she still has big hair. She can't say hair right, so she says hair. That's her gimmick, I guess. That she has big hair and that's all she thinks about. And then who else? Who else? There's Erica. I liked Erica. She's smart and she actually seems to know how to think for once. Like she's smart, but she's not smart like Melvin, like inventing stuff. She gives out like advice, and I wanted to see more of her because I actually liked her, but she doesn't show up that much. Oh. And then there's this Chinese kid, Chinese boy, Asian boy, whatever. I don't know what he's doing in there. Like I don't even remember. Oh, there's a helicopter. I hope you don't hear it because I'm gonna just keep going. Anyways, the other characters, like there's this janitor. He was pretty cool, but he only did like he was only a major player in like one episode, and then he just disappears. So I don't know what's up with that. And then there's like the main villain, this Mr. Krupp's assistant. Uh, she just she's just in there for this one joke where she comes in and she says, "Did you call me or something?" It's okay. That's all she does. Anyways, like I said before, the characters don't really develop or show any other characteristics between like besides like one main one, which gets old real quick. But the show's made for little kids, so I guess it's okay because little kids tend to forget stuff. So let's move on to the animation. And in the animation, I don't really know like what I'm talking about. So Let's get started. I don't know about animation or anything. I don't take classes or draw or I don't know about your fancy frames per second. I don't know. But what I can say about the animation is it looked good. You know, it's not as good as the movie Captain Underpants, but it's okay for a TV show. They have less money, and it's even mentioned in the show. They even break the fourth wall and make fun of themselves that they can't afford that type of animation. But it's good. It's good overall for what it is. And sprinkled throughout each episode there's like different types of animation. Like besides the fliporama, which I'll get to in a little bit, there's like some puppet work. There's some clay motion when they fight the avocado monster thingy. Then there's like 2D, like I don't know how to describe it. 2D things, and they're like stop motion. These are nice breaks between the main animation. I like them. And then there's the fliporamas. Oh, wait a minute. No, it is this way. And then there's the fliporamas, which are really fun. Let's tell us the truth here, guys. The main reason we read the books were for the fliporamas, and when we ripped those books, flipping those pages back so fast. We all did that. We all did that. Anyways, in this series, they do have fliporamas, but only the first fliporama is actually a fliporama, and then the other ones are different types of oramas, but they still get the same message across. I don't think they work as good as they did in the book, because in this show they can actually like show the whole fight animated all the way through, but in the books it was used to visualize the fight a little bit, but it still works. And I do like how they have like it's not just all fliporama. It's like, how do I say this? It's like fliporama, but it's not really fliporama. Like they have different types of fliporama. That's what I'm trying to say. I guess I don't know. They have some they have one where they're painting. Hold on, let me see. Let's see, where is it? Oh, there's one where there's like they have to match cards, and that's how the action gets shown. There's a light show rama. You just have to see them for yourself to see if you like them or not. But I did. It was okay. Like most of this is okay. The animation's okay overall. Didn't really have any big complaints. And let's move on to the story slash, I don't know, the story, I guess, slash each episode. The show doesn't really tell one big story. It rather tells 13 individual stories. And I wanted to see Captain Underpants show that was continuous, like each show affected the other, but I guess, like I said, it is made for little kids, and kids have a short attention span. But when it did happen, like when it did show some continuity, I liked the last two episodes because it had some form of continuity with the fart coming back, and this secret rope guy, and a cliffhanger. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I did like those two episodes because of that. But the other 12, 11, 12, they don't really affect each other in any way. Like they all forget that they were bad guys, or that bad stuff happened, and they don't ever talk about it again, which I didn't like because I wanted a whole story. But I guess each show is like a book in its sense. Each episode is like the same. It starts with George and Harold, and then a new character is introduced, which is usually the bad guy, or the main, or is episode centered around this character, and then and then George and her get in trouble or something. They make a comic book, and somehow the comic book comes to life, and then they snap their fingers on Captain Underpants to make Captain Underpants, and then he fights the bad guy. What I didn't really like about it is like, with the exception of a few characters, Captain Underpants doesn't really beat the bad guys. He just assists in them, and like the show's title, The Epic Tales of Captain Underpants. So Captain Underpants should be the one to take them down, but it is what it is. Just a minor. I don't know. It's a major complaint, I would say, but it's okay. He still shows up every episode, and he still does his wacky shenanigans. Little bald bitch. and and then at the end of the story, at the end of the episode, Captain Underpants defeats them. He goes back. He transforms back to Mr. Crab when he gets wet. And then that's it. It's the end of the episode. The bad guy's either defeated and returns to normal, or they go away and we never see them ever again. I would have liked to see, like I said, a story that focused on the origin of Captain Underpants. Like, we get a minor thing. Like, the theme song pretty much sums up Captain Underpants' origin story. But I would have actually liked to seen it. Like, how I remember reading the books, and the first few books, I think, he didn't actually have superpowers, so he was just Captain Underpants, some bald guy in his tidy whities, and a red, what do you call those things? A red, I'm trying to say flag. It's not a fucking flag. It's a red cape. He was just a regular, normal, bald dude in his tidy whities and a red cape. But then I forgot how. Like, I know he drank something. I don't know if he went to a different planet or something, but he drank something, and that's how he got his powers. I would have liked to see that, and like, I would have liked to see Captain Underpants without powers too, but I guess they're saving those for the movies or something. I don't know. It's just referenced in one episode really briefly, like he drinks the juice again and he gets hypnotized, but I would have liked to see the whole episode. And I also would have liked to see, like I said, fight some major of the bad guys from the books. Like, Professor Poopy Pants already happened. I would have liked to see the toilet, because I think that was my favorite. And then I remember the Boogerman too. I would have liked to see them fight those. But the stories are pretty basic each episode. They don't really connect into the last two. And like, the cliffhanger really, like, I would say, like, the stories got better towards the end. But it wasn't really bad at the beginning, but it got better towards the end when the stories actually connected to each other. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Let me see if I have anything else. And comics. Oh yeah, each episode wasn't really significant. Like sometimes, not gonna do it. And then like sometimes, well, in like the last episode, we're trying to get that rule book so they wouldn't get spelled, to give it to this guy. I don't know if this is spoilers or not, but they were trying to give it to this guy, and they could have, like, they were trying to take it away from Mr. Krupp, and like George and Harry know that they can just make him into Captain Underpants and give him the book, but they don't do that. They don't do that for some reason, and like, that really bothered me, because they could have just snapped their fingers and told Captain Underpants to give him the book, and then sprayed Mr. Krupp with water, and it would have been okay. But I guess they had to move the story ahead. It's things like that, when it's obvious that it's made for little kids, but it's okay. How many times am I gonna say that? Anyways, let's move on to the rating. I would give it since it's a looking thingy, I'll just say 6 wedgies out of 10. It's okay. Oh, I said it again. It's okay. Anyway, it's. Oh, I was about to say it again. It's a good show, but I just think it came out too late. Like, it sure came out when Captain Underpants. We were reading Captain Underpants in school, but instead now we're all like, well, I don't know how old you guys are, but let's just say I'm old. I'm not that old, but I'm old. Like, I can vote and stuff. And this show didn't really hold my interest that much, but I did like it. But it wasn't perfect. It was, like I said, made for little kids. I think little kids would like this show. Like, most of, like, there were a lot of butt, poop, and fart jokes, which I really didn't like because, like, I'm not 5 or 6. But the other things were good. Like, the villains were bright and, like, interesting. And, I don't really know what else to say. It was good. The flipporamas were fun. The different types of animation were good. They sometimes broke the fourth wall, which was also funny. But besides that, it's basically a 6. It's above average, but it's not good. It would be. I think it would be better if, like I said, it had a continuous story, and like the characters had more development rather than just being a one gimmick thing, like the horror. But if they were all more like Erica and less like fucking horror girl, and I think the show would be better, like at least an 8. And if like the kids were like smart, or like the other people were smarter than they actually are, then they wouldn't be being then they wouldn't be beaten by a fucking stupid bald guy in his underwear and 2 little kids. But it is what it is. It's a basically a 6, nothing more, nothing less. If you wanna, if you read Captain Underpants books and you wanna like relive those memories, and I guess you could watch this show, and I guess you could finish it all the way through. But if you didn't read Captain Underpants, or if you're just not like into that anymore, and you don't like fart poop or butt jokes, then you're not gonna like the show because that's all it is. But it has good animation. The voice actors are okay. George and Hera are finally little kids, not grown adults, but it was pretty fun overall. I would recommend watching it if like you have nothing else to watch, and you have the mind of a kid or something. Like you're young at heart, but you're old in physical appearance, and I would watch it. And bitches, and that's it, really. So I don't know what else to do here. I'm not gonna ask for shit. I guess I don't know. So I think I'm gonna just end it, and good day. Read the joke in the description, and I'll see ya later.